Colonial America, a gentle tale of hygiene, a whispered dawn. Imagine, if you will, a quiet morning in colonial America, the year 1650. The first light of dawn slips through the cracks of a timber cabin, casting soft shadows on a dirt floor dusted with straw. The air carries the faint scent of wood smoke, mingled with the earthy tang of damp clay. Homes are simple. Their walls of rough-hewn logs and mud, their roofs thatched with reeds that rustle in the morning breeze. Within these humble dwellings, life unfolds in ways that feel distant, almost dreamlike to us now. Tonight, let's wander gently through the world of colonial hygiene, a world where cleanliness was a fleeting dream, and survival wove itself into every task. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let this story carry you back to a time of quiet resilience. The tiny foes of Jamestown. In the early days of Jamestown, settlers faced challenges far smaller than the vast wilderness around them. Captain John Smith, his quill scratching parchment by the flicker of a tallow candle, wrote of troublesome ants that swarmed grain sacks and cacarooch bugs that skittered across straw mattresses. These tiny invaders were relentless, burrowing into woolen blankets and nesting in the crevices of log walls. A settler named John Porey, in a 1619 letter, described waking to find his shirt crawling with fleas, a daily battle in the humid Virginia air. Even George Washington, years later, once fled a lice-ridden cabin during a frontier journey, choosing the chill of a campfire under a starry sky over the itch of unseen pests. The Native Americans, wise in their ways, bathed daily in cool rivers, their skin kissed by the water's gentle flow. Yet the colonists, steeped in European fears, believed water could seep illness into the body. Their homes hummed with the soft rustle of insects, a quiet reminder of a world where cleanliness was a constant struggle. Picture the creak of a straw bed, the faint crackle of a fire, and let your thoughts drift to this rugged world. The quiet streets and their secrets. Step into the streets of a colonial town, where the rhythm of life was raw and unfiltered. Outhouses were a rarity, and most families relied on simple chamber pots, their contents tipped into the muddy lanes below, mingling with rain and dust. These streets, lined with timber homes and shallow wells, carried the heavy scent of waste and earth, a perfume that hung thick in the summer heat. Archaeologists, centuries later, would uncover privies brimming with relics, shattered clay pipes, delicate wig curlers, even human teeth, lost to time's quiet embrace. John Winthrop, governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, wrote in his journal of the foul miasmas in Boston streets, blaming them for fevers that swept through homes. At Valley Forge, George Washington's army struggled against disease, as poor sanitation claimed more lives than musket fire. Yet life pressed on, with the soft clatter of wooden carts and the calls of peddlers weaving through the air. Imagine the squish of boots in mud, the faint drip of a well's bucket, and let this world settle gently around you. The art of not bathing. Bathing, in colonial times, was a rare and cautious act, often met with suspicion. Most settlers relied on sponge baths, a damp cloth tracing over weary skin, warmed by a basin near the hearth's glow. Full baths, sinking into a wooden tub, were deemed indulgent, even dangerous, by Puritans who prized moral purity over physical cleanliness. A fresh linen shirt, its white cuffs peeking from a worn coat, was a quiet boast of virtue, its whiteness a symbol of godliness. The wealthy, like Philadelphia merchant Thomas Willing, might own fine soaps scented with lavender or clove, shipped from London's markets, but these were often kept as treasures, their fragrance unspent. Across the sea, King Louis XIV, in his gilded palace, bathed only twice in his long life, a tale whispered in colonial taverns. In New England homes, the scent of unwashed bodies blended with the smoke of oak logs, the air thick with the warmth of survival. Picture a settler by a fire, the soft hiss of a cloth in water, the flicker of a candle, and let your mind drift to this world where water was both scarce and feared.
The fragile smile and clever fixes teeth in colonial America were a fragile treasure, easily lost to hardship. A toothache might send you to the village blacksmith, his heavy pliers glinting as he pulled a throbbing molar with a practiced hand. Opium, bitter and heavy, was sometimes offered to dull the pain, its haze a fleeting escape. George Washington, a man of stature, wore dentures crafted not of wood, as legends claim, but of ivory and human teeth, purchased from those in need. A stark exchange in a world of scarcity. Earwax found a humble purpose, gathered carefully to wax sewing thread, its stickiness a small triumph of ingenuity. Silver ear picks, polished to a soft shine, served as toothpicks, their delicate points a tool for daily care. In the quiet of a colonial evening, under the glow of a tallow candle, these tasks were done with care, the air filled with the faint crackle of burning logs. Picture that candle's flicker, the soft scrape of a silver pick, and let the stillness wrap you like a blanket, wigs and the scent of life. In the finer homes of Williamsburg or Boston, powdered wigs crowned shaved heads, a fashion borrowed from Europe's courts. But these wigs, grand and curling, were havens for lice, their fibers a playground for pests. Weekly boilings in steaming pots filled the air with the sharp tang of scalded wool, a ritual to keep insects at bay. Women, too, lived with the body's natural scents, as shaving was a notion yet to come. Dr. Thomas Yule, writing in 1807, claimed a woman's odor was her shield, a curious belief in an age of curious ideas. Thomas Jefferson, ever practical, urged his daughter Martha to tend to her appearance, for tidiness was a virtue in a rugged world. In colonial ports, sailors and merchants like Samuel Sewall noted the stench of shared boarding houses where hygiene was a fleeting thought. Picture a lady adjusting her cap in a clouded mirror or a wig steaming over a pot, and let their quiet routines guide you to calm. The toil of laundry and healing laundry was a grueling task, a test of endurance for women like Elizabeth Freeman, a Massachusetts servant who scrubbed linens in wooden tubs under a relentless sun. Lye soap, harsh and biting, stung the hands, leaving them raw as clothes were washed perhaps once a month. The water, drawn from streams or wells, was cold, the work slow and deliberate, each garment a small victory over the dirt of daily life. In colonial hospitals, barbers served as surgeons, their pliers pulling teeth or lancing boils, their tools wiped on aprons stained with the day's labor. The Native Americans, watching from the edges of settlements, bathed daily in rivers, their bodies cleansed by the water's gentle flow. They marveled at the colonists' belief in bad air as the source of illness, their own practices a quiet contrast. Imagine the splash of water in a tub, the soft scrub of lye on cloth, the distant ripple of a river, and let this rhythm lull you into peace. Hygiene in the house of worship. In colonial churches, hygiene took on a sacred dimension. Sunday services, held in simple wooden meeting houses, were a time for the community to gather, their best linens worn as a sign of respect. John Winthrop, in his sermons, urged congregants to present themselves cleanly, for a tidy appearance reflected a pure soul. Yet the churches themselves, with their packed pews and straw-strewn floors, carried the scent of unwashed bodies and damp wool. Parishioners like Anne Hutchinson, a bold voice in Boston, might splash their faces with water before services, but full baths remained rare. Children fidgeted on hard benches, their hands sticky from shared meals, while the minister's voice echoed through the chilly air. The act of gathering, despite the challenges of hygiene, was a moment of unity, a reminder of shared faith. Picture the creak of a pew, the soft rustle of a hymn book, and let the quiet reverence of this space wrap you in calm. Maritime hygiene on the high seas. In colonial ports like Salem or Charleston, sailors faced hygiene challenges far harsher than those on land. Ships, cramped and swaying, were breeding grounds for filth. Captains like John Smith noted the stench of unwashed crewmen, their clothes stiff with salt and sweat. Water was rationed for drinking, leaving little for washing, and sailors often wiped their hands with rags dipped in seawater. Lice thrived in the damp hammocks slung below deck, and scurvy weakened men's teeth, leaving gums bleeding. Yet there were moments of care. Sailors like Richard Pierce, a Boston mariner, used whale oil to soothe cracked skin, a small act of ingenuity. The Native Americans, watching from shore, bathed in the sea's edge, their practices a stark contrast to the sailor's plight. Imagine the creak of a ship's hull, the slap of waves against wood, and let the rhythm of the sea guide your thoughts to rest, a tapestry of endurance. The colonists' lives were woven from small, deliberate acts: a clean shirt, mended by firelight, a moment free of fever, a child's hands wiped clean. Their hygiene, so strange to us now, was shaped by necessity, by fears that water could harm or that scent was a shield. Yet they built homes, raised families, and carved a life from a wild land. In the evenings, as lanterns cast soft shadows, they shared stories, the air filled with the clatter of wooden spoons or the rustle of straw mattresses. The Native Americans, bathing under a moonlit sky, offered a quiet contrast, their ways a reminder of the land's own rhythms. Let your mind drift, picturing a colonial village at dusk, the faint glow of lanterns in windows, the resilience of those who lived there, a gentle song of endurance, a gentle farewell. As we leave this world of colonial America, let's carry a whisper of its strength with us. Their struggles against pests, disease, and the weight of daily toil paved the way for the comforts we know today. The hot showers that cleanse us, the soft toothbrushes that guard our smiles, the clean linens that cradle us at night. These are gifts born from their endurance. Tonight, as you sink into sleep, picture the soft crackle of a colonial fire, its warmth a fleeting comfort in a cold world. Hear the distant ripple of a river where Native Americans bathed under the stars. Feel the quiet courage of those who lived in a time so different from ours, their lives a testament to hope. Rest well, dear listener, and let history cradle you into dreams